Governor Nikki Haley providing a snapshot of South Carolina last night in her State of the State address, looking at where it's been and where it's going, several pressing issues facing the state ranging from jobs to education. Joining me this morning for a bit of a reaction and a review, Democratic strategist Antjuan Seawright. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
It's very early
early after the speech last night, the third one given by the governor. She opened up by kind of acknowledging the military, which is something near and dear to her heart with, you know, the first husband just going out on deployment. But overall, plus and minuses for you in terms of the State of the State.
Well, I think she did a good job telling her story about jobs. No one can argue her record on jobs. She's been pretty successful with job records. But some things in the speech that I did not hear that were kind of a bother to me. First, when we talk about state infrastructure, as you know, it will cost about $29 billion to update our roads and bridges in South Carolina. She emphatically said that she will be no way, shape, or form for increasing the gas tax in South Carolina. Immediately after her State of the State speech, the DOT chair sent out an email, actually a press release, saying, you know what, this is just politics as usual, because at the rate that we're going, it would take $1 billion a year for the next 20 years to improve our infrastructure in South Carolina. That is very unrealistic. She also talked about education. I am a big fan of pre-K4 education in South Carolina. She didn't lay out any specifics in her education plan. All she said was we need to have a conversation. When we talk about things like health care, no way, shape, or form she has been emphatic about not accepting the Medicaid expansion in South Carolina. We know that healthcare as a whole accounts for 1/3 of our state's economy. So we didn't hear any specifics on what we're going to do more moving forward. It was more of a political speech than anything.
Now, a lot of people have said that, you know, you mentioned that she did a good job of talking about her standpoint on jobs, and people said that this kind of sounded like a campaign type speech and not so much as a State of the State.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there was no real specifics, and that's traditionally what you hear in a campaign speech. It was more continual rhetoric. Some of the things I heard from other Republican governors around the country. So I imagine they're on consistent messages, maybe perhaps with the RGA.
When it comes to security, because all eyes were on this speech in terms of the DOR and the hacking that happened, Governor Haley said, quote, "When it comes to data security, the state of South Carolina should have done better than in the past and will do better in the future. That does not mean that we will be 100% protected." Hearing that, do you think that was a clear enough response, or, you know,
I don't, Jan. Let me tell you why.
direction?
Because the security breach in South Carolina is going to impact us for the rest of our lives. Your children, my children, or whoever children were listed as dependents on their parents' tax returns, they're going to be impacted by this. And so the one thing I was clearly looking for from the governor last night was an apology to the state of South Carolina and to the taxpayers, but we didn't hear that. And so I think that was just one of those political things. Oh, I need to mention it because it did happen, but let's kind of move away from that.
Now, the state of South Carolina, going back to jobs, 45 of 46 counties saw some type of economic growth and some type of job growth. Do you think that's a plus under Governor Haley's helm?
I do, but I don't want to fool people that, you know, the one thing this governor has done is done a better public relations effort in announcing her job efforts. I think governors in the past have done similar efforts when it comes to jobs, but they haven't been as adamant about jobs announcements. She's doing a good job public relations wise of making her job announcements as she go around the state.
State of the State address happening last night. What do you feel about the State of the State of South Carolina after hearing the governor?
You know, I will always be a cautiously optimistic person because that's my nature, but I really want to hear more specifics from our governor. She did not even address the whole Sandy shooting and how we're going to address a similar situation if it should happen in South Carolina. I was really looking for her to say, you know what, I am all for putting a school resource officer in every school in the state. As her SLED chief, Mark Keels, testified before a Senate committee last week, saying that's something that he would be adamantly for and the state should pay for. Specifics on issues I didn't hear, and those are some of the things I was looking for.
Do you think a lot of people were kind of in that same mindset yesterday, especially after the president came forward and made these provisions and put gun laws, you know, as a kind of a forefront? Do you think they expected to hear that echoed in the state of the state?
I do. I think a lot of people wanted to hear more specifics other than talking points. And traditionally with politicians on both sides of the aisle, I won't be partisan. We hear a lot of talking points more than specifics. But when you're the chief executive of any state, I think the people want to hear specifics.
All right. Antjuan Seawright, thank you so
Janet.
much for
Thank you
coming
for having
in.
me
I know
this
it's early this morning, but hashing out the State of the State, we all appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.